All right. Welcome, everyone, to the podcast or the YouTube show. If you're listening, it's a podcast. If you're watching, it's on YouTube. And it's probably called Celebrity Josh, unless I come up with a different name. I'm still working on that. And today our guest is Ryan Erwin. And we were just chatting for a minute, and I was like, I guess I should start recording. But it's different. Like, once you're recording, you got to be on. You can't just be like, hey, how's it going? He's like, well, you got to turn it on. I'm like, all right, so here I am. Woo! All energetic.
Howdy.
Yeah. So this is another lunch club connection. And I figured, why not record the call and see what's going. Sometimes people don't want the call recorded. They're like, let's just keep it casual or whatever. But Ryan's he's a go-getter. And he said to me earlier that so by the way, what's the date? So I can tell people.
What is it,
May? All right, I should have checked this. I feel like it's May 19th. Here, I'm going to scroll my screen to, Thursday, May 21st. Okay.
Well, time flies.
Yeah. Wow. Which is something I was just thinking about how time is flying by, and like every day you're like, just getting through the day. But then I'm like, but there's been days in my life, like when I was really young, that it was like the best day of my life. Like I'm in Europe and I meet a girl in Spain and we walk around all day, and then we go night clubbing and we go for a walk at night or whatever. And it's just like this magical thing. And I just wonder, why can't every day be like the best day of your life, full of stuff? Like what? And maybe it's just me, I'm not living the right life, but it's like, some days it's like, I just walk to the grocery store or whatever. So that's a bigger existential question, I guess. But let's introduce our guest. So Ryan Erwin, your bio said, well, it's a long thing. Right now, actually, okay, so for those of you who you can see Ryan is sitting on a porch, and he's in Burnaby, BC, which is outside of Vancouver, and there's some big pine trees. Are those mountains behind you, or is this forest, or what is that?
There's mountains back there, yeah.
Good Lord.
There's, it's beautiful British Columbia.
Yeah. So, okay, so what's your quick little bio? You're a non-practicing lawyer, and what else are you into?
It would take probably the entire conversation to go through the whole resume, but in a nutshell.
Yeah, just like a little nutshell, so people go, do I want to listen to this or not?
Yeah. No, so my background academically is in law and journalism. However, I am also an avid performer and enjoy the performing arts in various capacities, whether that's pro wrestling or acting. So
pro
it's a bit
wrestling
of a mixed bag.
Wow. All right. Well, that sounds interesting enough. I'm going to listen to this. And okay, so you're in Burnaby, and then
I was surprised, Josh. I was looking at some of your other shows, and you didn't do your intro. Yeah, like in all of the other shows, you said, "Welcome everyone to Celebrity Josh," and today you didn't do that.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I've been thinking. I've sort of been having a big epiphany the past few days. Like on the weekend, I was looking. We were driving past the Tulip Festival, and I was looking at people at the park. And here, hold on a second. I'm just going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb so I don't get notifications every second. And then I suddenly was like, oh my God, my life, I was supposed to be a university professor. That was my destiny. I could have been teaching students and doing a PhD. And then the next day I was like, oh no, or I could have been a high school teacher. That would have been cool. I could have been entertaining students every day. And then the next day I was like, oh, why haven't I been working at summer camps like every year kind of thing? I thought that'd be fun. And then today I started thinking like, because last night I Googled how to become a university professor, and it was this long thing about how hard it is. But he said, but if you do it, it's kind of cool because then you get to hang out with smart, like-minded people all day. And I'm like, yes, smart people. Maybe that's why I've been frustrated, because after university, I feel like, people, I'm not going to slam people in advertising, but a lot of people couldn't spell very well, or I don't know. I just feel like I've been surrounded by people who weren't that smart. And then I'm like, oh, this is what I need to do. I just need to start interviewing university professors, and maybe that should be my show. It can be like, we're talking to geniuses. And then I'm like, okay, I got to change the name from Celebrity Josh to something like Spark the Genius or something. So I'm still feeling, so now I'm feeling tentative about my name. So I'm like, I don't want to say, welcome to Celebrity Josh, in case next week I'm like, no, it's a new name. But I guess at this point it's still Celebrity Josh. So let's go back to welcome everyone to Celebrity Josh. And today's guest is Ryan Erwin. But thanks for noticing that it was different. And I still have to do some kind of theme song. Like I had some song when I think originally when I started doing little videos a couple of years ago, I think somebody had stolen my domain name, joshrackless.com, and so I bought joshrackless.today, and then I was, I forget what the name of my show. Maybe that's not even it. Maybe it was Celebrity Josh still, but there was some kind of song I had. It's like, are you ready for celebrity? Then oh my gosh, something 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 something. It's time for Celebrity Josh. I tried to come up with some kind of rhyme that tied into celebrity and. Anyways, so maybe I should actually finish the lyrics to that or remember what they were, because that'd be good.
You could wear like an Oshkosh Bagosh shirt or something like that.
Ooh, not bad. Yeah. Well, I do have a Celebrity Josh shirt downstairs with my logo on it that originally I thought, I should wear it for all my content and then people will buy my shirt. But I'm still not sold on Celebrity Josh. Just I feel like it has too many syllables. Like I've always been jealous of people who just have one name, like Pink or Sting or Drake. You can just go, it's the new Drake album. But would you be, it's the new Celebrity Josh? You'd get tired before you even finish the sentence. So people aren't going to refer to me as often, I feel. Although it hasn't hurt Ariana Grande or whatever.
Just go by like the what is it, letters, like CJ, Celebrity Josh, CJ.
I thought about that too, yeah. And then, because especially like if I've got a sponsor and they're like, okay, you got to use promo code Celebrity Josh. I find people, including myself, you can't even remember how to spell celebrity. Like, where are the E's, where are the I's? So it would be better CJ. And then I'm like, well, what's CJ? Are there other CJs? I think the Pam, who was the Baywatch girl? Pamela Anderson. I think her character's name was CJ. Or there was somebody on Baywatch who was CJ. And then CJ.com is taken by this affiliate website, Connection Junction or something. But maybe that's where, what to do. But I was thinking, I don't know why I've been thinking that I want my name to be Spark. I just thought because it's spark conversations and it's like a bright light, but it has nothing to do with anything. It's not like that's ever been my nickname as a child or anything. So I don't know. There's some name out there, but I guess, I don't know. I keep hoping that I'll just get famous and then I can poll my audience, or I can be like Donald Glover and be like, okay, my rapper name is Childish Gambino, or I can be like P. Diddy and just keep changing my name, or Snoop Dogg became Snoop Lion for a bit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but it was a bit weird.
Yeah, I think I was just, because every now and then I Google people's names to hear the history of it, so I was Googling that last week, and there was something about, was it drug related, or was it, he got into African culture maybe, and that was something to do with lions. There was something to do with lions, that he was all into lions for a bit, but then he probably realized,
he had a reverse epiphany.
Yeah. He's like, wait a minute. I owned this name. There's no point in trying to make it complicated. So who knows? But yeah, because I keep trying to think like, okay, well, like where would my name work? Like, what if I'm ever playing James Bond? Would it look good on a poster to say Celebrity Josh is James Bond? That doesn't make any sense. Or if I'm doing a comedy act, it's like, hey, next up, it's Celebrity Josh. Does that sound silly? I don't know.
It might work in the comedy context. I don't know about the acting context.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, Carrot Top, the comedian, that's fine. Hey, Carrot Top's coming up, but would Carrot Top would Carrot Top win an Oscar for acting? I don't know. I can't think of a name that applies to everything. But I guess some names, like Madonna, she did some stand-up on Jimmy Fallon recently. It's like, and it still works. But Madonna was her real name. Some people are just lucky, I've realized. Like Cher was kind of the beginning of her real name. Madonna was just her name. Drake is just his middle name. So sometimes you just have a name and it's like, hey, that works kind of well. Or Zendaya, that's her real name. And she just decided instead of going by her whole last name, she'll go by her first name, which works because there's not a lot of other Zendayas.
Yeah, it's unique enough. Yeah.
But if you're Josh, there's plenty of neurotic Jewish comedians named Josh. So got to come up with something else. And there's a few Ryans. There's a Ryan Gosling. There's a Ryan Reynolds. But
Ryan Stiles.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess we could start going through all the Ryans. I always wonder about names. It seems like if everybody has the same name or so many people, like what's the point of a name? Like why even name people? Like what's the point of the name John if almost everybody's named John? Like, I don't know. So I feel like everybody should have a unique name that nobody else has, but I guess that's hard to come up with. So I don't know. And then everything's taken on Instagram. Every time I'm like, oh, I could make my name Spark. Well, there's an @Spark, even though they're not using it for anything. So, but even Sting doesn't have @Sting. He's official Sting or whatever. It doesn't seem to be hurting his career. So who knows? I keep hoping. Well, but I didn't want to wait to produce content until I finalize my name, because there's no point in that. That's like, when I was young, I'd trying to come up with a band name for years, but I never started the band. So, and then Celebrity Josh I've just been using because Josh Rackless is hard to spell. And then I did a project for work years ago when they said, hey, make a little web video where you're interviewing celebrities and getting them to try this popcorn. And I came up with the name Celebrity Josh because I was a celebrity hunter. And then I was like, hey, I've got that domain. I'll use that for my videos for now. Yeah.
So just a quick question on the creation of content, like you're doing the podcasts, and what's the most frustrating part of it? Because I'm not a podcaster myself, so.
No, well, I've just started. I think for like at least 10 years I've been researching how to do a podcast. Like I remember I was hearing about Mark Maron's like WTF podcast, and there was a producer in advertising who's like, yeah, we can start a podcast. Let's start some, I don't know, let's go. We'll book the studio time and we'll get Rogers Cable to sponsor it. And I don't think we ever did it, but with this other producer, Tommy, we recorded the Tommy and Josh show, like some hour and a half of us chatting. I should dig up that file. Then my friend Renee and I recorded something called Reality Chick, where we looked at women's magazines and then gave the guys' perspective of the articles, but we never did anything with that. And then and I would meet with people. I went to podcast conventions in Toronto twice, and I still couldn't figure out technically. I knew how to upload a video to YouTube, but how do you get a podcast onto whatever it was? And nobody could tell me.
Right.
And I even met with a guy, a comedian who's doing it, and gave me all these notes. I'm like, what are you doing? So finally, a couple of months ago, I just signed up for, I even took a podcasting class 2 years ago with this guy. So I emailed the podcasting teacher and I said, what hosting service do you recommend? And he's like, I like Simplecast. I was like, okay. So I finally just signed up, and there's an affiliate link to Simplecast in my description. And then finally I just signed up for Simplecast, paid the $15 or whatever, and just practiced. Okay, let me upload a file. I had just done a video file of me talking about Indiana Jones. I was trying to think of YouTubing things to talk about. So I was like reading the entertainment news. And then I took the file from the audio from that. I'm like, okay, how do I add ID3 tags? How do I get it up on Apple? And even the instructions I was reading were out of date because iTunes has just become Apple Music, so it's not the same anymore. But yeah, so I finally figured it out, and I was like, okay, you upload your MP3, and you have to sign up for all the services, and then it's ready to go. So, and then it was only like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, I finally decided, how do I interview people? Because like I was saying, or maybe I was saying that to you before that we started recording, but there's things like Squadcast, and there's an affiliate link in my description, that'll record person on each end and then merge it so it sounds like a bit better. But then it doesn't yet have the capability to record the video. And I'm like, I like the video in case it wants to be on YouTube. So I decided, you know what, I'll just do it in Skype. There seems to be an easy record button on my phone, I've discovered. I think it used to be with Skype that you needed some external software, like I had Call Recorder or something on Skype. But now they just have a built-in recorder. So it's like you press the button, you record. And I think the audio is probably fine enough. I think people are used to listening to interviews over the phone or whatever. They can tell. And so the frustrating part, I guess I just messaged a couple of people on Instagram, and I was like, hey, let's do this. Let's just chat. So I interviewed a singer, and I interviewed an actor. And I was like, okay, we're rolling. I think my plan was to do it every day, and then I find I haven't done it every day. I guess it's been, I don't know, it's tough. It's once I realized that, you got to spend 20 minutes talking to somebody, and now I'm suddenly being more picky. Well, who do I talk to? Is it somebody that I want to spend the time talking to? And then it does take a while afterwards to, okay, now I've got the file. Okay, if I got to make the audio from the Skype thing, and now I got to write my description for YouTube, and then I got to write my description for the ID3 tags, and for the podcast, and then I got to upload the files. And so I've got 2 interviews that I did the past couple of days that I still need to upload, and there was a couple of things, and one of them like, maybe I said too much about my life. I should edit those parts out. And then once you have to start editing, it's like, when am I going to sit down to do it? But really, I should just sit down and do it. Like I've become a procrastinator. I'm like, am I going to do that? Because I want to keep up a rhythm. Because if you do it every day, people start looking forward to it. I feel like it's like exercise. If you miss a couple of days, you go, I don't really have to do it anymore, and it just disappears. And I think I need to, because I'm not interviewing like super celebrities or anything yet, so people aren't just going to naturally discover it. So I think you need to keep churning it out every day to get people used to it and go, okay, it's going to show up in feeds, and that was a fun one. I'll listen to it tomorrow, and that's what they say with podcasts too. You need to be consistent, like whether it's every day or every week or whatever. people have to know, okay, I'm going to subscribe and I'm going to look for the same thing with YouTube. Otherwise, they'll just be like, I don't know when it's coming out. I'm not going to be looking for it. And with the things I like the Philip DeFranco show, I look forward to that every day. So it's like
I just watched
I
that
know
earlier
it's
today.
oh awesome, yeah. And I used to my routine last year when I was living in my condo would be, I don't know, I'd just make some dinner and I'd stand at the counter and I'd watch his video while I'm eating, and I really enjoy that. And I haven't given myself the time to do that lately because I feel like I don't know, I don't have time to waste or whatever. But he becomes kind of a friend, and yeah, it's because I know it's every day. If it was frustrating, if it was one of those things where I don't know when it's coming out, I'd probably be like, I can't, I just lose interest kind of thing. So yeah, what I need to do. So the reason I'm doing these now is, in my fantasy land, I'm like Mark Maron or Joe Rogan, and Jennifer Lawrence is sitting down with me in my garage, or Robert Downey Jr. is coming by the studio and we're just chatting. And in the meantime, I just want to keep getting out content, and also I feel very lonely all the time, and especially during quarantine, I guess. So it gives me a chance to talk to people, and yeah, it gives me a reason to talk to people who maybe I wouldn't be chatting with otherwise. Like I was taking a flight. I feel like a friend of mine who listens to these things, and there's only been like 4 of them, but was already saying like, you shouldn't tell the same stories over and over because we've heard them before. But it's every day I'm talking to a new person. And why am I talking about myself? I don't know.
Well, definitely, like with Lunch Club, it's interesting because it's like LinkedIn meets chat roulette, and so it's you never know what you're going to get, really.
Yeah, my parents were asking yesterday, like, what is this Lunch Club? Like, did it used to be people actually meeting up in person for lunch? And I'm like, I don't know.
Apparently it did, yeah. That's my understanding. In California,
okay.
I think.
All right, so I guess that makes sense, because otherwise, why would it be called Lunch Club? Like, nobody's having lunch, and these are happening at all times of the day. And so, because I Googled it yesterday, and they had like $14 million, or was it 4 million, in seed funding. And it's kind of like, yeah, LinkedIn meets, I don't know what. Yeah, chat roulette, I guess. Is chat roulette still around?
I don't know. I remember there was that video with the guy that went viral, and he was lip syncing to, what was it called? The Carly Rae Jepsen song. And then people were reacting to him.
Yes, that must have been how I heard about it or something. And then I was like, I'm going to do that. And I probably around that time went on with my guitar. And I don't know, I think I met some people. Like, actually, I messaged a few people or somebody on Instagram lately, like, how did we meet? And she was like, oh, on chat roulette, like a few years. I'm like, oh my God, that's right. But mostly it was, well, if you scroll through, it's mostly men touching themselves. Or if it's occasionally a real person, well, it's a lot of younger people. So they go, you're bald, or you're old. How old are you? Like, it's a lot of that. And that's not really good for your self-esteem. So I don't know. I don't know if there's a chat roulette for grown-ups, but I guess this is what that is.
I guess so.
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. So I'm not really sure what the site is. I don't remember who told me about it. But yeah, I was trying to explain to my parents. It's kind of like LinkedIn. It's networking. It's professional people, and and I actually have been pleasantly surprised, because you never know with any of this stuff. Like I'm subscribing to so many things. Like, join our Zoom call, and actually there's some Zoom call right now that I realized. What is it? PIC, People in Communications in Toronto or something, and they're having a networking meeting, and I'm like, but I got to talk to Ryan. But yeah, the first person I talked to does like social media for Elizabeth Warren, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I've talked to people who work on Broadway and all this stuff. So it definitely is a good thing. And I'll put my maybe I should put my referral link below. I'll put that in the description if people want to sign up for the site. It doesn't cost anything, so I don't know how they're making money, but maybe the person I was talking to yesterday was saying, but maybe that's the kind of thing they think they'll get bought by LinkedIn or Facebook or something. The big cash. Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't read their privacy policy. Maybe they're selling our data too. I don't know.
That's true. Maybe this is live streaming somewhere right now.
Could be.
Oh man, that's why nobody's visiting my podcast, because they're getting it on Lunch Club, and they're like, "This is awesome." And Lunch Club is charging people $10 a month for the Celebrity Josh show. Man,
terrible.
Yes, but did you hear Joe Rogan his deal with Spotify?
I did. I heard about that.
Yeah, so that's
a big deal.
I guess people are saying it's a big deal. So I guess with podcasts, like you sign up for Simplecast, affiliate link in description below, and then you sign up for all. Yeah, you fill out little forms, and then it gets sent to Apple and Google and Spotify and all the Streaker, whatever people listen on. And yeah, but apparently he's got like an exclusive deal. Like now he's only going to be on Spotify, so you got to go to Spotify. Although I guess, I mean, how does that make them money? Do people subscribe to Spotify, or are there ads on Spotify? I don't even know how that all works. Maybe there's a
Yeah,
Spotify
I think
premium.
their objective is to like get more subscribers to pay money for Spotify in order to access Joe Rogan's show.
But do you have to?
so-
Isn't Spotify free?
I think you can get it free with advertisements. So it's like every, I don't know what it is, 10 minutes you have to listen to an ad.
Right,
kind of
right. So
breaks
it's
up
like
your podcast listening.
right. So it's like YouTube. You can pay to premium,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
there's no ads. So, and I always think, well, who would do that? But I guess there's enough people that do it, and all you need is a couple million people to go, all right, fine, it's worth the $5 or $10, and now you've got millions of dollars. Uh-huh. All right, well, good for him, because that would be kind of, because I've been trying to think of, yeah, like what's my goal now? I do lots of little things. I wrote a screenplay that won an award, and I'm like, oh, I got to make changes to that, but I never did. And I did a little stand-up, but I never really pursued that. And so I'm trying to think of what I can do now that I can consistently do every day. And especially now with the pandemic, you couldn't even go to a comedy club if you wanted to. So even Jimmy Kimmel is interviewing people over Skype. So I'm like, oh, this is finally the time to do it, I guess. And hopefully, I don't know. I feel like with these shows, you sort of get to know the person and you like their personality. People listen because they want to hear Joe Rogan's opinion on something. So it's not necessarily, it has to be a show about science or a show about acting or whatever. Just interesting people. So I figured, yeah, I should do that because my dream would be, I don't know. I think I'd be satisfied if I had something like him where I was getting to talk to interesting people and then you can do stand up as well. And I guess once you sort of make it big doing something like that, Amy Schumer, you can do stand up, but then, okay, she's big doing that. And now she gets her own show. Or now Judd Apatow says, here, write a movie I'll direct. And then you get to act in it. So it all sort of combines into once you're a performer that people are interested in. Because I was visiting a girl in LA a few years ago who took me to a comedy show, and it was just a random, regular night at a comedy club in LA, and there's 10 people. I think Dane Cook did a surprise drop-in or something, but Amy Schumer was in the mix, but it was before she was famous. I'd never heard of her, but I remember I took notes. I just wrote down her name, so I was like, she was really good. Who the hell was that? So I tweeted to her, you were really funny tonight, thinking I was encouraging this amateur comedian, but then a year later she's playing stadiums and stuff. I'm like, I should have gotten a selfie with her or something. And now she's Jennifer Lawrence's best friend. But yeah, I guess that's kind of what I hope to do with this. I mean, I don't know if these should be more structured. I don't know if it'd be better if I picked a topic. Like I went to this thing called Podfest in Orlando in March. Yeah, there was all these different people giving speeches and I guess they had a video fest the day before too. So I think the guy who was talking about his shows about golf courses and golf clubs was talking about YouTube, but same kind of thing. Like now he's the most popular, or maybe he does a podcast as well. And now he's the most popular golf course podcast or something. And so he'll get advertisers, like golf courses will advertise with him because they know the audience, people who care about golfing. So that kind of thing seems to make more sense if you're hoping to really get a targeted audience and maybe be able to sponsor it.
I definitely feel you need to take, like nowadays, the future of acting and becoming like a personality, like a public personality, is to take the initiative to create your own stuff, to be the producer, if you will, right? And then build from there.
Yeah, I've always said that to people, and it's very important. Yeah, like people are like, oh, I wish I could get cast in something, and I guess obviously it does help. All you need is to get cast in the Hunger Games, and then you're Jennifer Lawrence. But in the meantime, if you can create your own thing, if you can write your own one-man show, oh, the birds are on the porch. It's so cute out there. Or if you, whatever it is, write yourself a movie and shoot it, or at least then you're doing creative stuff and people can see what you're doing and they might discover you. And like I was just doing my Instagram videos a couple of years ago and just posting little things like, Priyanka Chopra's coming to the film festival. I wish she would marry me. And some woman saw that and thought it was funny, and she had an entertainment website and she hired me to interview celebrities at TIFF, and then at the Directors Guild Awards. So you never know who's going to see something and go, hey, that's kind of fun. And I think even for acting or modeling now, like usually agents will say, well, let me see your Instagram. Do you have a following? What's your thing? Or my friend Heather was on Shark Tank, and she was trying to get a deal for her cooking book. And they said, well, how big's your Instagram? Like they want to see that you've got a built-in audience. And it's also just good for your own practice. I mean, why not? Now that you can film with your phone, you just film stuff and do stuff. Like what are you waiting for, kind of thing. So yeah, that's what I figure I'm doing. And I feel like if I'm just at least every day, I can feel like, hey, I did something. I interviewed someone. It's out there. It starts building. I've also started the past week I do a question of the day. I figured like sometimes I do little things like some rant when I'm going for a walk, but I'm like, okay, well, if I ask a specific question every day, just like, hey, everybody, are you late or early for things? I was late for the bank today. It kind of starts a discussion. So I've been posting those in the Jewish singles Facebook groups and nomad singles and redhead appreciation, because I always wanted to marry a redhead. And
share those genes, I heard.
Exactly. I read that if well, first of all, yeah, redheads are going extinct, and second of all, if two redheads have a baby, it's guaranteed to be a redhead or something. And I'm like, well, come on, then why wouldn't I? But that's really limiting yourself. And now I think I did have a Jewish redhead girlfriend a while ago. I should have, well, but I can't go back. So, yeah, man, I have so many regrets about the past. I'm just trying to keep moving forward here. But yeah, so the questions are doing well. Actually, all the groups are like commenting on my questions and they're asking for more. But it turns out that if you upload videos into too many Facebook groups, Facebook blocks you and says, you've blocked from this behavior for now. I can't even upload a video to my own profile now. I'm like, really? It's been a few days. So I can still upload to my page and then I can share it from the page to a group. So, but now I realize how much time that takes too to be uploading to 50 groups. So I'm hoping enough people will see my previous ones and start to follow me or something. But yeah, so I figure if I can do like at very least a little 3-minute question of the day just to keep it going. Because also I feel like it's important to be consistent on Instagram. If you can post something every day, you'll get a few more followers. People will look for you. And again, I don't know what the end game is, like what the point of having followers on Instagram is. Yeah, and I guess it just makes me feel like I've done something rather than, I didn't put anything out today. So that's kind of what I'm doing with all of that. I was flying to Israel a few years ago, and the girl behind me in the seat looked familiar, and I Googled Leonardo DiCaprio's ex-girlfriend. It was this supermodel Bar Raffaelli, and I just said to myself, because a friend texted me and said, she was just on the Howard Stern show. And I'm like, I need to have a show. Next time, when I get back to Toronto, I got to start some kind of show. And then next time I see somebody I want to talk to, I can be like, here's my card, and you got to come on my show, kind of thing. So I feel like the bigger I can make this, the more, I don't know, the more people might want to come on my show. Yeah, I guess, I've got the famous Ryan Erwin already, so that's not bad. Yeah.
Start.
Yeah. So you think you think that's all a good idea, the whole podcast and everything?
Yeah, I do, and I think this actually doing the lunch club things that's something new. I feel like I don't know, I haven't seen it before, so it's probably it's limited and it's in what like if lunch club blows up, then you're gonna blow up, right? So
yeah, it's interesting. Like, and it's not even specifically lunch club interviews. Like the first two I did were just actors and singers I met on Instagram, and then I guess around that time somehow I started doing the lunch club. And then I thought, well, if I'm going to be video chatting with people anyways, I could ask, do you want to record it? So it's kind of like some people are from Lunch Club, some people are from LinkedIn. I think, somebody messaged me. A few people from LinkedIn are now messaging me and saying, hey, I'd love to be on your podcast or whatever. So I've got a whole folder now of people to interview, and I guess I have to go through. And sometimes I make the mistake of emailing too many people. Like if I don't know, there's some financial software affiliate that I just signed up for, and I'm like, hey, I could interview you, and with my link, and they're like, oh, great, when? And I'm like, now I got to talk about financial software or something for 20 minutes or whatever. So I don't know, but I mean, it's so easy for me to spend 20 minutes just watching a YouTube video or something, so I might as well chat with someone. And again, it'd probably be better if these were a bit more focused, like it was a show about actors or what, like, so people who were interested in that. But I don't know. I feel like, who knows? I guess I'll find out if there's an audience for just random chats like this, because I think it's kind of fun. Like it's almost, it's just like listening in on somebody's phone call, if you were going for a walk every day, you'd be like, all right, let's listen to what Celebrity Josh is who's he talking to today. And because I've never actually listened to the Joe Rogan podcast. I'll see clips on YouTube, like it'll be like Joe explains why he's shocked about what Trump did or whatever it is, and so I'll watch that. But I mean, I imagine there must be people who sit and listen to him chat with somebody for 3 hours. And again, I guess you could listen to Elon Musk or like famous people for 3 hours, but I think he talks to, I don't know, maybe, I have no idea. I guess it just keep churning it out and see how it goes. So like what you said, you're a professional wrestler?
Yeah, so I'm training as a professional. I started about a year and a half ago. And so like, I mean, I'm in my early 30s. I'm way past my prime in terms of wrestling, but I was like, you know what? It's always been like my teenage dream to be a wrestler. So I'm just going to go for it and probably, break my body doing it. But it's fun. It's fun because, I mean, I don't know. You as an actor, I'm sure you love being, taking on a character, being in front of an audience.
Yeah.
But it takes that aspect of live theater and then adds on like sport. And I mean, there's choreography involved as well. So, I mean, you could compare it in some ways to dance. When you're up against an opponent, there's like, you've got basically like a leader and a follower, right? You have one person kind of leading the match, or in ballroom, you've got a leader in terms of leading that dance, right?
Wow.
And then you have to be able to trust your partner, right? Because I mean, one wrong move and you could be paralyzed. So you have to know that how to take the move yourself. You have to protect yourself, but also it's so important to protect your partner and just make sure they don't land on their head, for example, right?
Yeah, like is there a wrestling school you're going to, or?
Yeah. So there's actually in Vancouver, there's two schools. The one I go to is run by a guy named the Great Kasaki. So he's this Japanese guy, and he's really into comedy wrestling. And they're affiliated with this company called All Star Wrestling. But it's fun. It's fun, and I'm the oldest guy training there, I think, at least regularly. And most of the other guys are in their early 20s, and they'll be body slammed a few times, and they'll pop back up, and I'm like, all right, I need to take a rest.
Yeah, that's frustrating. Well, at least you're a lot younger than me. I keep thinking now it's like what's left for me. I interviewed this actor, I guess he's in his early 30s too, like a couple months ago. He thought I was younger because I look a bit younger than I am, but he's like, oh, at your age, most people would have quit. And like, that's good that you're still trying to make it in acting and stuff. I'm like, thanks very much. So yeah, I guess there's always the next level of, oh, I wish, I'm too old for this kind of thing. And now I'm like, I'm too old to go to summer camp or to be a teacher or whatever. And that's what I just posted about that. Like, I regret not doing all these things in some comment on the founder of Spanx on LinkedIn. But I've got like 30 comments from people who are, saying it's never too late, keep going after your dreams or whatever. And then I keep going, Daniel Craig is older than me. He's playing James Bond. But of course, a lot of this they can do because they started younger. And, Sylvester Stallone can be an action hero because he's been doing it for 50 years. It's not like he would start now. But I guess I just gotta, I don't know. It's very easy to just go, ugh, why didn't I do this when I was 20? Like really sit down and go, okay, did I want to be a wrestler or whatever it is? But yeah, I think you could do it. So that's kind of exciting.
You have to know your limits, right? It's like, I'm not going to get in the ring and do some crazy flippy stuff that a lot of the younger guys are doing. Yeah. So, I'm going to have to be really focused on like character-based wrestling. So creating that character, interacting with the audience, and really getting that reaction from the audience, as opposed to trying to get, wow, look at that guy who just did like he flipped 3 times in the air and landed on the other guy. I'm not going to be that guy. So.
Yeah, and I think that's what would be more popular with people. Like I've never really watched wrestling. I had friends who were really into wrestling, but I don't remember ever, going, oh, I want to see the guy who's going to do the, the Olympic gymnast move or something. It's more, I remember the Undertaker and his face and the music, and I don't even remember actually seeing any wrestling. Like it's just more about the walking in and all those wrestlers. Even in the 90s, they all seemed pretty old to me. I don't know. Like, I mean, how old was Hulk Hogan or the Undertaker or any of these people? I feel like they were all mature, just muscular guys, just knocking on each other around. So I don't know. I think you'll make it. I mean, what would be the next? Like, what happens there? Like, you get recruited, or you audition for wrestling, or like the
Well, I mean, realistically, there's only a small handful of companies where you can actually make money wrestling. So,
like there's more than the WWE.
yeah, there's a couple of the companies. There's AEW which is a fairly new company in the U.S., but there's also a big market in Japan. Like, I don't know if you've ever been to Japan, but
I've been to Tokyo twice. Yeah.
you can literally find a wrestling show every night of the week in Tokyo. It's incredible. As a wrestling fan myself, so
Oh wow. And then like a live show.
the live show, yeah.
Okay, so for example, yeah, so if you don't get discovered by WWE or whatever, you can be like in these other leagues and be like, hey, and then you'd have your character and say, this is who I am. Like, do you come to them with your character and say, I'm the great Pyro or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, and usually it's like if you can't say it in more than like 5 words, then you describe your character. Then
Right.
you need to be able to like really like whittle it down into those 5 words, right?
Yeah, they don't want the backstory and everything. Oh, you're the Undertaker. You put people in coffins. I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have your character that you're being?
So I haven't actually performed as a wrestler yet. I've performed as a ref, and so I'm looking at. There's a couple of character ideas I got for my wrestling. One, the first actually was to be a lawyer, draw on my lawyer background.
Oh, that's
And
good.
so I'd come to the ring, with my suit. However, I'd be the bad guy, so I'd take my I'd distract the ref and hit the guy over the head with my briefcase, knock him out. And then, the ref like looks over, I pin him, 1, 2, oh, he kicks out. You got to have that, story that I want the audience to cheer the good guy, right? So yeah, the good guy manages to kick out. He comes back, he beats me, 1, 2, 3. I lose the match. But then I pull out the rule book, and I say, actually, referee, here's rule number 36, sub 2, sub B, and then reverse the decision, audience boos, and I go out of the arena with all the boos, and just,
I like
success.
that. That's hilarious.
However, you know what? I actually talked to some people from the Law Society about that, because as a lawyer, I'm also it blurs the line, right, between reality and fiction. And
Right.
They didn't seem too happy about that idea, because they thought the idea of a corrupt lawyer, like a lawyer playing a corrupt lawyer, was like too close to home. So they kind of kiboshed that idea for me.
Oh my God, you've already had the lawyers on you.
I know.
That's unbelievable. It's still a good idea, huh? But
someone else could play it as long as they're not a lawyer. So.
Right. You can sell them the character name. Oh man, or
Good.
can you? I guess can you resign your lawyer credentials?
I could but then I need to go 100% in on something else.
Yeah. Then you'd be. So. Then I wonder how that would work. Like if you renounce your legalism and then you got to go to law school all over again to become a lawyer or something.
I just got my 10% battery warning.
Yeah. That's why I've got a. All right. Well, we can. Yeah. That's why I brought a. I've got a charger here on the porch. I just came outside because I could hear my dad watching a video on his computer. I'm like, this is annoying me.
Well, if you want, depending on what your schedule looks like, I could always run inside and get my charger. Do a quick pause, or we could just do a quick wrap up. It's really up to you.
Huh. Well, yeah, we could chat a bit more because we covered the wrestling, but I think you said you have acting stuff as well. Yeah, if you want to go grab your charger and then we'll return in a minute.
Sure. All right, I'll give you a call back in like 2 minutes.
Okay, bye.
Like earlier today, but wasn't ready. So
I've
got to
have
water instead.
All right, so I'm recording now, but you were just telling me you wanted to have your beer on the porch. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I was gonna have a beer with you. I was hoping we could have beer together. Actually, I'm a big craft beer guy. But,
that's why I kind of came out on the porch. So I'm like, oh, you said you're gonna be on the porch and having a beer. I better do the beer. But what, you were like gonna brew a beer and it wasn't available?
No. Well, I've got to pick up my motorcycle, and I was gonna pick it up before I talked with you. But since I have to go drive my motorcycle after, I figure I probably shouldn't drink.
Oh,
Um,
probably a
try to
good.
be responsible.
Right, right. Okay, so just to inform everyone who's listening, we're back. 40 minutes went by. Ryan called me back right away, but I was sitting there for 15 minutes going, I wonder where he's go. Like, couldn't find his charger. And then at some point I remembered, oh my God, my do not disturb is on. Um, so, which I'll put it on again now. But that meant it wasn't ringing. So then I was like, okay, my dad just came out and said dinner's happening. So I went in to eat, and then we're meeting quick before he has to get his motorcycle in 15 minutes. So that's that's unfortunate because it's like, what the heck were we talking about? But I had a good little dinner with my family. I informed them what they've been missing. What happened? Oh, actually, I sat down with them and I said, you know what? I think I need to pursue my screenplay again. And my dad's like, what screenplay? Like, he didn't even know I wrote a screenplay. I said, well, I took a college course like, I don't know, 15 years ago and wrote like a comedy screenplay. And then I finished it at a woman's house or an apartment in LA, and she would go to work and I'd write it afterwards or during the day, and then she'd look at it. And then I entered my first draft into an award show, and then my teacher's like, "Oh no, it's just the first draft. You can't enter an award." I'm like, "Well, I already did," and then it wound up winning this big contest in LA, and I was just thinking, you know what? That's kind of a big thing. Like, there was hundreds of entries from around the world, and this is something I just banged out. I mean, it took like a year or whatever, but I didn't even reread it really. It was just my first draft, and that shows skill. And it's like, and so some producer made a bunch of notes after I sent it. Like, he got sent the thing, and I just never. Oh, look, the bird is here. There's the bird with the blue head I always see, and I'm like, God, why did I never pursue that? And it's so easy, I guess, to go, oh yeah, it's a lot of work. I'll do it later or whatever. So just along the theme of you finally saying, you know what, it's my childhood dream to be a wrestler. I'm going to do it. So I mean, it might be too late for me now. I remember my teacher saying, I was saying to her, like, I don't know how old she was, but I'm like, go to LA. So I'm too old to go to LA now, and I'm like, what does that mean? But now I kind of get it. You kind of feel like, well, my life is set. What am I gonna? I don't know, but
Well, I
who
think it'd
knows?
be really interesting to like go back and reread your script, reread the notes, and like I don't know, you might write a whole new draft that looks completely different from what you originally had created. But
Yeah. Well, my mom
it'll
was
be an
saying,
interesting
yeah,
process.
yeah. She's like, you might want to update the technology. Put in some Zoom calls or some, quarantine or something. Because I don't remember what I would have had the guy do. I mean, I probably had cell phones in there, but maybe not FaceTime or something. But I remember I pitched the idea. There was this girl. First time I went to LA, we were shooting a commercial there, and the producer was hitting on this bartender at the hotel, and I talked to her, and she said she was doing a sketch comedy, and so I went on my own to go see her show, and we sort of kept in touch. And then another time when I was there, I met her, and she's like, "Oh, do you mind if I bring my boyfriend to breakfast?" I'm like, "Oh, is he hot?" She's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "All right, bring him." But then it turns out he was a director that shot some big movies, and I told him my idea for the movie. He's like, "That's really good. Send it to me when you're done." And so I was trying to finish it, and I reached out to his assistant, but then the next time I reached out to his assistant, he'd been fired or something, so I never reached that guy again. But yeah, I hope it's frustrating, because now I think, why didn't I just sit down? Because I look at how much time I've wasted since then. Why didn't I just, even the past 5 years, write that again, and I'd be in a better place now? But I guess you can always say that where you are, and all you can do is just say, okay, from today on, I'm going to try something again.
Yeah, I've got like a bunch of projects like that on the back burner, that, like films that I wanted to edit and stuff. Like it's all shot. I just haven't gotten around to editing it. So.
Yeah, I know. I've got one. I shot a bunch of beaver puppet movies years ago, and I shot like episode 5, and just sent the tapes to this girl, and then she wound up having a baby and never got editing it, and she was in Seattle, and I'm like, what should I do with all this stuff? And yeah, I've got my vlog from Costa Rica trip a few years ago. I've got an hour of footage from every day. I gotta edit that so much, but yeah, I guess you just gotta sort of plug away at it. The girl I did a lunch club call with this morning, or I guess it turned out to be this afternoon, so I slept in. She was saying, yeah, just set yourself a timer. Like, what she does is say, okay, I'm going to spend 15 minutes writing. What does she do? Writing something, songs or something for 15 minutes a day, and then she'll write some more tomorrow, and then she does half-hour timers just to say, okay, at least you're doing it, rather than this open-ended thing. So I told him about the screenplay, and then I said, yeah, I also got a call from a summer camp today that's because I emailed some summer camps saying, you know what, it's always been my dream to work at camp, and I never thought about it until now. And the camps aren't running this year because of quarantine. They are in the U.S. though. I wonder if I could go work in the U.S., but not in Ontario. But and then they're like, oh, that's good. And I said, yeah, I got a call from a guy last night at 11:30 at night who I used to work at advertising with, and I'm like, I hadn't talked to him for years, and I never talked to him on the phone. I don't even know how he had my number. And he's like, why are you calling the crisis line? Because I mentioned it, was feeling kind of stressed about everything, and I mentioned it in a LinkedIn comment on LinkedIn, and then it started this whole discussion, and all these people are saying, they're going after their dreams and stuff too, and but he saw it, and so it was interesting to talk to him because he said, he mentioned, yeah, like since I got MS, it's been tough. I'm like, you got MS? And he's like, yeah, that's why I left the agency, and there's all this drama there, and I'm like, oh my God. So I mean, people have, like, I guess people have diseases and stuff. Like, not everybody's got this fairy tale life that you see on Instagram. Like, everybody's dealing with their thing, and I'm sure a lot of people. I just don't want to. It was always my fear. I don't want to not achieve my potential just because it's like, it's like, and thinking, God, what if I could bang out an award-winning screenplay? Or I remember even the first improv class I took when I was like in university, the teacher took me aside after the first 8 weeks and was like, listen, you've got a real gift. I don't say this to people, but you really should pursue this. And it's like, oh, I never did that. I was never in Second City or with Saturday Night Live or whatever. And it's like, I hope I can salvage a bit of that. Like, it's just frustrating. But yeah, I guess for the last bit, because you were telling us about your wrestling, which I feel could have been a whole episode. I mean, that's a pretty crazy thing I've never heard about. And then you were saying you were a lawyer. Oh yeah, and then your law firm doesn't want you, or the legal association doesn't want you pretending to be a lawyer. And then you were saying you do acting as well, or
some local plays and stuff. Although more recently, I've been focusing on the wrestling.
Oh, so that's
I've been creating like this referee persona. I started. So there's also like these offshoot wrestling shows that combine different aspects. So there's like one that combines wrestling and heavy metal. So they'll have like a heavy metal band playing with a wrestling show. There's another one with like burlesque and wrestling.
I like that one.
Yeah, well, for that one, that's a really fun one. And actually, for my referee character, I created a character in drag. So I created a character called Tori Not Tori, and so I dress in full drag, and I'm like a drag referee. So that's quite the show, that one.
Multi-layered, yeah, wow. And you've performed this, or this is like thing you're workshop?
Yeah, like no, I've done 2 shows as that character.
And how do the shows happen? Is it part of the school? Like the school puts on like school shows, or have you found a wrestling place where you can do the shows?
So for that particular one, that's actually run by mainly a few people in the burlesque community, and they've kind of teamed up with some of the people in the wrestling community, and they produced a show together. And so that actually happens every 3 months. They do one of those shows. And
is this in Vancouver?
In Vancouver, yeah. It was supposed to happen was it last weekend, I believe, but because of the virus, we didn't get to perform. So.
Well, maybe you can do like Zoom shows or something.
Yeah.
And what do you do? Is Burnaby where you live, and then you drive into Vancouver, or?
Yeah, it's super close. It's like less than 20 minutes.
And is that your home, like sitting on that balcony with the mountains behind you?
The family home, yeah.
Yeah, so you're staying with your parents for now, or?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. I don't have mountains behind me, though. And then, so you went to law school, and then you've just sort of decided that's not really your passion right now, or?
Not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people said, because I pursued the acting thing for a bit, and it didn't amount to as much as I wanted it to. So I went to law school, and a lot of people had said, you'd like to be on stage, and why don't you become a lawyer? Because that's like you're in court. It's kind of like performing, right?
Yeah.
And so I decided, all right, let's give it a go. Let's try it. Worst case scenario, I mean, like having a law degree is still quite the achievement, and I don't regret that. But when you actually get into the practice of law, especially litigation, being in court, I didn't take into account the heavy toll that the adversarial system has on you. So it's like, because in court you're always battling, right? And so when you're working as a lawyer and in litigation, you're constantly like thinking game theory all the time, right? And it's just like, how do you one up the other person?
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're like negotiating, you're still trying to one up each other. And coming from like a theater background, it's so collaborative. Like everyone's trying to work together, and suddenly I'm put into an atmosphere where it's like just I felt cutthroat, and I needed to like get away from that and like either find some way to work collaboratively within the law, or at the very least like rediscover myself as a performing artist.
Yeah, so it's the opposite of improv. Yes, and it's like, no, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was actually thinking about that the past couple of days too, like all these things I wish I'd done, or it's like, cause whenever I watch TV and I go, oh, it'd be cool to be a doctor, but then I wonder how much of that is, no, I want to be an actor playing a doctor, or do I want to be a doctor, or do I want to be an actor playing a lawyer on like LA Law or whatever shows I grew up with, or is it that I want to be a lawyer, or so it's because it's. I do like because I was working in advertising and there were sort of people around me, but a lot of people I didn't necessarily like. And then, so I'm envious of people who work in jobs where they go to a job and they're surrounded by colleagues. Like I imagine if you're a doctor, it's in a way like being in university, like you're surrounded by people all the time, and you talk and you're like have Christmas parties together. Or I don't know. I guess I'm just maybe in my old age, I'm just like, oh, I got lonely. I want to be around people, but I wonder how much. Yeah, like what? And then I started thinking, like, my God, I wanted to be a university professor, and that's what I was looking up last night about that. And so yeah, I don't even know what my point is. I don't know how much law would be. Although I was talking to my friend who's a lawyer today, and she says she misses, like she works in children's aid kind of thing, and even normally in court, she'd see other lawyers and say, "Oh, how you doing?" Like, and she's not right now because it's all sort of digital, and she misses that. So. I don't know, and I imagine that acting would also be a social thing. Like you'd be on set and you'd be with people. So I think that would be nice. Like I was watching some girl on Instagram posting about how she was supposed to be starting the Charlottetown Theater Festival or something this summer and having another magical summer with the amazing people. And I'm like, oh my God! And something like that must be probably people of all ages, because in plays there's different ages. So it's not just like, hey, it's young people doing summer camp. It's like anybody who's in the play or involved would be with these amazing people, and I would think that would be really cool. Because I'm looking right now for the answer to how do I creatively fulfill myself, but also what's an environment where I can feel I'm with other people and I'm not alone. So yeah, that's kind of my theme now, which I wish I wasn't thinking about it, and I wish I was just Mr. Happy. Like I try to listen to Conan O'Brien's podcast, and it's mostly joking around. And I don't know how much of that is just, he's just trying to put on a funny show, or how happy he is. But he was interviewing Mike Myers in one I was just listening to, and even Mike Myers was saying he never enjoyed being on Saturday Night Live because he was always stressed that he was going to be fired. It was so much pressure, and I'm like, Jesus, you're living the pinnacle of your comedy life, and you're feeling down. I don't know. Here, let me do one more little ramble. Because I was just looking at somebody's Instagram, and she posted something saying, "I love this so much," and it was she's like a university student. It looked like it was one of her friends, and it was a video she made for TikTok, and she was doing laundry or something and taking out different outfits, different tops, and then she'd look at one, and then each one she'd cut to footage of her and her friends at a nightclub or somewhere where she was wearing that, and it was like all these amazing memories. And I'm like, my God, because I remember. And who knows, maybe I'm distorting it through time, but I remember, magical nights like that. You go to a bar, or you're meeting a new girl or whatever, and it's just, or you write in your diary, oh my God, this girl kissed me. Like, it was so exciting. And I just keep looking for, is there a way, once you're older, to have times like that, like amazing times that you look back, or is all of life after like 22, looking back at those magical 4 years? I don't know. So anyways, so that's just what I wanted to get off my chest right now. But okay, so
I always find travel is, you always get the craziest and like memorable stories from travel.
Yeah.
I don't know what your experience has been like, but
Yeah.
that's
Well,
definitely my experience.
yeah, it's tough for me to say because it's like the travel I remember, and the only real thing I did was when I was 20, I went to Europe to visit a French friend who lived in France. He was a French exchange student, and I stayed with him for a week with his parents, and then I was like, this is kind of boring. We were in a tiny town, and he got sick of me, and so I just took a train on my own to Nice, and after a week, I finally met a guy who's like, hey, I've been talking to these two girls, and we hung out with them for a bit, and then they were going to Barcelona, and we followed them, and then they were avoiding us, but they told me, no, it's him we don't like. We like you. And it was just this 1 week in Barcelona with these two girls. It was magical. And that's what I kind of was hoping for, I guess, in my head when I sold my condo. But then suddenly I was like, it occurred to me, no, I'm not 20. I'm not going to be in youth hostels meeting young girls and magical times. And it's going to be like I'm a grown up. And it occurred because I tried staying in hotels, because even hotels, I thought, well, I've always liked hotels. Maybe I'll meet new people every day kind of thing. But again, it was like, no, these are local hotels where people are doing their own thing. They're with their family or their business. They're not like, oh, who are you? It's not like residence. So then that whole thing fell apart for me. And I have had, I guess when I went on the group trips to Israel, I was talking about, and I went on a group trip to Costa Rica maybe 5 years ago. And even about 5 years ago, this girl I was talking to online, she was in Mexico for the week, and I flew down just to meet her. And we did have some fun adventures. So definitely travel. But I wonder,
the group trips, I think they're kind of hit or miss. Like you can definitely like meet some great people and have fun, but I think it's really like whenever I try to travel, I always try to go like local as possible. And so like I'll like sign up for like a meetup or sign up for like even a class and take a class with like the local people who wherever I am. And then
that's a good idea.
Through that, I actually get to meet the locals and where do they go? And that's where I really form my like cool connections, right? As opposed to just being with a bunch of tourists who all want to see like the typical tourist things and do the typical tourist stuff, which is kind of boring to me. But
yeah, I mean, with the Israel trip, it was organized. It was good, but a lot of it depends on the people you're with. Like it turns out a lot of these people I'm like, oh, I don't like these people, or I wasn't getting enough sleep, and they said, oh, well, for this 5 a.m. trip to Masada, you'll be able to sleep on the bus, but then people are blasting music, and I'm like, guys, we're supposed to be able to sleep. Like it didn't seem like very nice people. And then even the Costa Rica trip I went on, it's like, I don't know, there's a few people that got mad at me at the beginning because I was filming in the synagogue, my little vlog, and like it's not that's against the rules. And then for the week I felt kind of bad. So I finally made some friends kind of at the end of the week. But yeah, if you're trapped with a few people that you don't get along with, it's really a bad thing. So yeah, I guess there's different ways to do it. I was looking at something.
One of the things I love to do is actually like there's a website called ratebeer.com, and it's like kind of Yelp for beer. But I'll message some of the people in wherever the local place I'm going, and I'll say, hey, you want to meet up? And I bring some beer from Vancouver and bring it to them, and I'll meet up with them, and they'll give me some beer from their local place, and then we just have like a sit down and chat, and sometimes you make friends, sometimes maybe you don't like them, but it's just like an hour out of your day, and you get to meet a local person, get like a local flavor of what life is like there.
No pun intended. Huh. What kind of, where are you going? Like Thailand, Ireland? Like what kind of places?
All over. Most recently, I just came back from Mexico in January. And actually, I did some wrestling training when I was down there. So that was like super cool.
Like with the Mexican wrestling mask?
Yeah. It's like a totally different style. So.
Huh. That's a whole other episode. That's pretty cool. And so I guess we need to wrap this up because you're going to...
we got to go grab that motorcycle.
The motorbike.
From the repair shop. So.
Oh, and then you'll just be cruising around looking cool in Barnaby all summer.
All summer.
Oh man. And so you're kind of like the wrestler guy. You'll have your sunglasses. You'll look like the Terminator on your motorcycle. That's very cool.
I got the long hair, in the back. Yeah.
Oh my God. You're like Fabio. Okay, and so do you post on YouTube or Instagram? Is that, do you want people to follow you, or what kind of, or is it you're just working on your stuff for now?
Just working on my own stuff. I mean, you can. I followed you on Instagram, but you can post my Instagram on your description of your video if you'd like.
All right.
It's my personal one now, so there's no particular theme. Kind of
no,
like
it's just
life, though.
Yeah. Like your life? Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like You got lots of stuff going on. Very exciting, but I'm glad you're going after all your dreams. And yeah, it's interesting to hear about people who, I went to law school and then I realized maybe not, and I'm going to try the wrestling. So that's great. I mean, first of all, I think it's great to once you realize that, to just do it, not work for 30 more years as a lawyer and then go, really, I should have tried the wrestling or whatever. And I think it shows that a lot of people try something and you don't know at 20 that you want to be a wrestler, or maybe you didn't even know it existed or whatever, and then you're just like, hey, I want to try this. So I think it's inspirational to everyone to go, you know what, you can always take a left turn, or you can sort of pick up your old screenplay from before and go, you know what, I'm going to dust this off and try it again. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully you'll be on the show again. I've noticed that on podcasts, I was looking for how to label the episode and the URL, and it looked like Joe Rogan sort of does just like the name of the person. It'll say Ryan Erwin, and then, but if they're on again, it's like Ryan Erwin 2. So, okay. That would be the name of the episode kind of thing. So cool. All right. Well, have fun with your motorcycle, and thanks for being on Celebrity Josh.
Cool. Thank you, Josh.
All right. Bye.